Hello, everyone. My name is John Andrew Morrison, and we're celebrating the return of live theater with Natasha Sinha, the Associate Artistic Director of Playwrights Horizon, celebrating a bold new era. Hello, Natasha.
Hi. How are you? It's so good to be here with you.
It's so good to be here with you. And I gotta tell you, man, it's so like all of us from Musical Theater Factory have been like rooting and cheering you on as you've been like doing the thing. So it was very exciting to see your new position at Playwrights Horizons. Congrats. It must have been so
Thank you.
extremely weird to get that during a pandemic. Do you want to talk about starting a job in theater during a
Yeah.
pandemic?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird starting a job in a pandemic. I mean, there's a lot of big picture conversations we get to have because of this moment, I guess, but
Yeah, yeah.
to not produce a show is so wild to me because every time I've started a new job, that is the thing that really, I think, helps me understand how the theater operates, what it can do, what it can't do, and how to navigate all of that. And so
Yeah.
to have been there now for 8 months without doing a full live production on stage, it's like I know a lot about all of the intent and everything that's like going behind these shows and getting to know the staff who I love, but we haven't actually been able to like practice any of it. And especially with all the experiments coming up, like I really hope this fall and beyond is like a time for safe experimentation because I think we need that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like we can't do that yet. So I don't know if any of these ideas, it's not so much like do they work or not. That feels like a way to set someone up for failure. It's more
Well,
like I don't know what does work and how to evolve from there.
what does Playwright Horizons mean to you? And working there, I know it's a special place. Why is it a special place?
It is so thoughtful and innovative and genuinely for artists, like and I think a lot of places can say that, but I've really felt it at Playwrights Horizons, both from the outside and now from the inside. And that feels like that means the most to me, and I've genuinely made whatever move I'm making in theater because I really believe in the artists I already see at like my potential new place. And
Right.
also how much more room could actively and intentionally and thoughtfully be made on top of that existing history. And Playwrights Horizons is like the ultimate version of that to me, and it always has been for me. I mean, from the stuff they did back in the day, like Something to Park with George and falsettos and stuff like that,
Yeah.
to the Mr. Burns and Familiar, the stuff I saw in college, like, and then evolving to, a little show you might know. Um, but but to be honest, like Strange Loop was a show I've loved for years and have been
Yeah.
following in the musical theater, underground,
Yeah.
um, and wondered if any theater would actually be brave enough to produce it and caring enough to produce it well and
Yeah.
to honor what it's actually about and to reshape itself to fit that incredible piece of theater, so that was really encouraging to me to see. And some of the lineup of this next season also contains folks I've worked with at other theaters and I'm so happy to get into production with. So that's always been like the reason why I've wanted this space. And like ultimately also I'll just say like the biggest reason I love being here is because every single show expands the canon. The mainstream theater canon is like stretched with every single show that Playwrights Horizons does because everything is a premiere of some sort. And that's huge. I mean, the responsibility and the opportunity is huge there. And I love that.
That is so true. I didn't even think about that, but that is, that is true. The shows that start there end up go like people then do it regionally and they get picked up and and move
Hmm.
on and on. It really does have this amazing reach and it felt like a career milestone for me to be able to
Mm,
say that I'm performing at Playwrights Horizons, and I felt so celebrated and for who I am.
mhm.
So yeah, I love that you're there. I just
Well,
adore that you're
I
there.
I want to be at places that celebrate you because that is like the greatest, and should happen. Honestly, I mean, like you have so much to offer, and like this piece, I feel like was able to do that to showcase so much of what you can do. No
Yeah,
one piece would ever be able to do that for any actor, but like this one at least got to do so much for you, and
yeah,
I love that. I want to go to places that are doing that kind of
yeah.
artist support.
How are you preparing to welcome folks back to live theater at Playwrights Horizons?
Mm. I mean, I guess I'm thinking about it from like I guess two main standpoints, right? Like there's the COVID of it all, and there's
COVID of it all.
thinking about who we're actually welcoming. Um, and I mean, just to say the COVID, like Delta scares me. I've been pretty anxious about everything through this whole pandemic. I do feel safe and antsy about our productions to start. Um, and that's probably because I particular like I because I'm there, I know the great care that's been going into the safety of everyone, the artists, the audiences, the staff, everyone to the best of our ability. But
Yeah,
there's a pandemic that's still going on. And
yeah,
so it's, you know, our associate general manager, Jenna Reddy, is one of the like sharpest, most intelligent humans I know, and also one of the most thoughtful. And that kind of leadership from all ends feels really necessary in these times. And that's a big part of my days right now is really
yeah.
that kind of conversation, which is necessary, but not super exciting for me. Like I'm in theater, you know, like I want to make theater. I want to like make these stories and support these artists. And so I'm just like antsy, but also scared because I don't want to put people in danger. So
Yeah.
there's, you know, there's that aspect, but there's also then who are we welcoming once we are able to do that? And like how wide ranging is that crowd, you know? So I went into lockdown once Cambodian rock band shut down at Signature Theater. That's where I
Right,
was then.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And to be honest, I had a lot of plans to build on the audience work and like community work we were doing there for that show,
Yeah,
um, which had been on my mind for years. And I was so excited to finally do it. And, you know, particularly as folks of color started getting a few more slots off Broadway than usual, but they were still largely playing to white audiences.
yeah,
Um, you know, still being they were still being slotted into processes that were built around a slew of folks from a very narrow dominant demographic. So, you know, the ways of shifting the rules of a space, the ways of making folks comfortable in a space to the point of feeling like it's truly theirs and shifting cultural vocabulary so a wider range of people feels excited about going there. Like those are
yeah.
things I cannot wait to try out. And like I was saying before, like learn from it, evolve from it, keep going, knowing that not all of it's going to work. That is fine, but let's try something new. Like that's what I'm really excited to meet. Like I want to meet that moment when we're coming into the theater again, and welcome folks in this like new way that may not be perfect, but it's going to hopefully get to a better place.
So tell us about what's coming up in terms of live theater at Playwrights Horizons. What's the first thing that you're letting us see?
Yeah, well, we're starting with What to Send Up When It Goes Down, Alicia Harris's incredible play. It's a Redux production for us. It's a co-production with BAM, who
Hmm.
produced it in June, at a different time in the pandemic, which we're also dealing with right now. And you know, if you come see it, you'll see the vibe of our public art series, which was a series of visual artists wrestling with like our troubled, gorgeous world in the
Yeah,
front of our building itself. It was a bunch of visual installations. So that's one of the things we've been doing during the pandemic, and that's sort of gonna transition, it feels to me, into this um just staggering installation that serves as like the entryway into the experience of What to Send Up. And it's, you know, this piece is so necessary, and I mean that both with like, you know, in the ways that it wrestles with anti-Black violence, but
uh-huh.
also in the ways that it's about the embodiedness of theater. You know, we talk about Alicia writing this play not only as a play, but as a ritual. And, you know, as much as I genuinely so admire the people who could find like innovation and really exciting things over Zoom and such, I love the idea of entering the building of Playwrights Horizons because you have to in order to fully understand what Alicia's putting down and to like take in everything that she's giving us through
Yeah,
this play. And not even, I don't mean us as in just me, like she's primarily offering it to Black audiences through this theatricality and ceremony and like age old use of gathering for storytelling and healing and thinking and feeling. And like these are the reasons I love theater, and it should speak
yeah.
to the audiences who should be centered, you know, in these different times. So like I'm just very happy that that's our first show. And then we go into a show called Selling Kabul by
Hmm.
Sylvia Corey. Um, we've been in deep discussions about that,
Ooh,
considering
yeah.
everything going on in Kabul last week. But the play itself really focuses on this family, and it's like a thriller, and it's really there's like a familiarity to the tensions of like a family, but then also just extrapolates to this huge conversation about the cost of war, really. And then we have a whole season coming after that that's very varied, both in content and like the community it was written by, for, and also just aesthetically. It's like really cool.
How can people learn about and support Playwrights Horizons?
So glad you asked. So we talked a little about the upcoming productions, but we have like so much other programming too, and you can get a sense of all that and go down some very thrilling, cool rabbit holes if you visit the website at playwrightshorizons.org. And you should check it out. Genuine, like if you're interested in theater and pushing the envelope and innovation and evolution at the scale of off Broadway, you know, we have a play development lab, we have a literary magazine now, we have an audio series that's like so thoughtfully created. It was actually created before the pandemic and landed after the pandemic, or during the pandemic at like this wild time. It's incredible, and you know, just like a lot up our sleeve. And so I don't know. I'm excited to put new ideas into practice once we can finally like rev up what Playwrights Horizons does best, which is live on stage theater. So, you know, these new plays, I think I'm just like excited to give them a life. And I know Adam is too, and all of us at Playwrights are just like waiting for when we can do that safely. I mean, we're gearing up for it, but you know.
Yeah. Natasha Sinha, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Morrison. This is a delight. Thank you for asking me to do this. This is so lovely.
Of course. You know, I spoke to Adam earlier, and so I was like, I'm
Yeah.
not, yeah, I'm going to ask Natasha. See how she's doing. How are you doing? How are you doing at
Well,
Playwrights
you know,
Horizons right now?
we'll tag team it. We tag team these sorts of things, so it works.
All right. Well, I can't wait to see you in person at the theater, and stay safe and keep on doing what you're doing.
Back at you. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Bye.